They heard me say it. I said that. If I was on there, I said that.
Turn around, please. You did not.
Shekinah, you stopped them, and I said the same. You asked me, do you think I'm happier that you asked me the question and I answered it? So why would you sit there and say that?
Because I am happy.
But why would you sit there and say that I ain't say that?
You didn't.
I think she's happy. Yes, I did.
It wasn't loud and clear.
Tell me. Yeah? Tell me what's going on right there. What's going on?
So, picture this. You wake up, grab your phone, and boom, Atlanta's on fire. And not the lit kind of fire. I mean the somebody's entire empire just crumbled before brunch kind. Because what started as just a messy conversation between Tiny and Shekinah turned into the kind of drama you couldn't script if you tried. You've got accusations flying, voices cracking, and the entire internet turning into unpaid private investigators overnight. This wasn't just gossip. It was like watching a royal meltdown in real time. T, the so-called King of the South, suddenly looked more like the emperor with no clothes, and the whole kingdom, watching, popcorn in hand. Fans on TikTok were posting clips like, "Nah, this ain't no reality show. This is reality. Meanwhile, Twitter was losing its collective mind. Hashtag DNA4TI, hashtag Justice for Tiny, hashtag Shekinah pregnant trending like a national emergency. But here's where things start getting real messy. Because while everyone thought this was just another celebrity rumor storm, the receipts started to roll in. And trust me, when the receipts dropped, they didn't just spill tea, they flooded the timeline like a broken hydrant. People weren't just picking sides, they were writing dissertations on Reddit. One fan posted, "This ain't even drama anymore, this is Greek tragedy with wigs and auto-tune." And the best, or worst, part? It was only the beginning, because what Tiny was about to say next would flip this entire narrative upside down. Music, ominous beat builds. You think you've seen a celebrity meltdown before? You haven't seen anything yet, because this wasn't just a fight. It was the first crack in a dynasty about to collapse live on camera. But that's not even the wild part.
Let me ask somebody who know me for real, right? Who really know me.
Man, I told her to say you want to help.
I think you have. Do you think I'm like... I think she's happy.
Really the issue. The video being posted up on social media is the issue. If someone would have sent her that video privately, she and I would have had one conversation about it, and it would have been.
You ever see social media actually combust in real time? Because that's exactly what happened the second those leaks dropped. We're talking screenshots, audio clips, medical receipts, the kind of stuff that makes TMZ look like Sesame Street. The internet didn't even blink. It went straight from, "Wait, what?" to, "Someone call Maury, we need results by sunrise." And y'all, this wasn't just a random rumor floating around. These were files, actual documents, messages, timestamps, and a suspiciously detailed report that screamed, "Somebody's lying, and it's not the group chat." Fans were in shambles. One TikTok user said, "T.I. really built a whole empire just to fumble it over a secret pregnancy?" Another tweet with 200,000 likes read, "At this point, the South needs a new king 'cause this one forgot his crown and his loyalty." Reddit threads blew up like crime scene investigations, users matching dates, cross-checking hotel bookings, even analyzing audio waveforms like they were in the FBI. And every clue pointed to one ugly truth. T.I. might actually be the father. It's like every piece of the puzzle just snapped into place, and suddenly the timeline was a courtroom. Justice for Tiny wasn't just trending, it was a movement. And then Tiny showed up. No PR team, no scripted statement, just pure emotion. Eyes red, voice cracking, mascara running, saying the words nobody ever wants to hear on camera. "I want a DNA test. I deserve the truth." That moment, internet history. It was like watching the internet collectively gasp. TikTok edits, slow motion montages, emotional remixes. It was everywhere. But here's what made it hit harder. This wasn't about gossip anymore. It was about betrayal. About a woman standing up and saying, "No more lies." And just when people thought it couldn't possibly get messier, the first receipts started dropping, and they weren't subtle. You're not ready for what came next, because the proof that hit the timeline would make even the most loyal fans question everything they thought they knew. It started like every other messy rumor that explodes overnight. A whispered name, a leaked screenshot, and suddenly the internet was on fire. The world woke up to chaos when a secret pregnancy rocked one of the biggest power couples in entertainment. The headlines weren't gentle. They screamed betrayal, lies, and DNA drama. And before sunrise, everyone had already picked a side. The man at the center of it all, a chart-topping rapper who once called himself the King of the South, now found himself fighting off allegations that could destroy everything he had ever built. His wife, a reality star and icon in her own right, was blindsided. Her tears became the new face of heartbreak across social media. And the woman in the middle, a longtime friend, now painted as either a victim or a villain, depending on which side of Twitter you scrolled through. At first, no one believed it, but then came the receipts, leaked messages, muffled voice notes, alleged hospital reports. It was the kind of digital avalanche that turns gossip into gospel within minutes. Every major blog jumped on it. Hashtags started trending worldwide. Hashtag DNA for truth. Hashtag Queen deserves better. Hashtag justice for her. It wasn't just another celebrity scandal, it was a cultural earthquake, and when the wife finally broke her silence, everything changed. Her voice cracked, her hands trembled, but her words sliced through the noise. I want the truth. I want a DNA test. That single sentence turned whispers into war. It wasn't just about cheating anymore, it was about legacy, loyalty, and public humiliation. You could almost hear the collective gasp echo across timelines. From that moment, she wasn't just a singer or a celebrity. She became the embodiment of every betrayed partner who'd ever stayed silent too long. People cried with her, memed with her, defended her. She became a symbol. Meanwhile, her husband, the man who once bragged about loyalty and family values, disappeared. His social media wiped. No posts, no comments, just silence. But silence in this era speaks louder than confession. Then came the courtroom scene that broke the internet. Reporters lined up like it was a movie premiere. Fans showed up wearing shirts that said, "Truth over fame." Cameras clicked as the three of them, the husband, the wife, and the alleged mistress, walked through the courthouse doors. You could feel the tension like static in the air, and when the judge read out the results, the world stopped breathing. The test confirms with 99.9% certainty. That was it. The line that detonated the entire dynasty. Chaos erupted. Fans screamed. Journalists sprinted to post headlines. The wife collapsed in tears. The internet turned into a battlefield of sympathy, memes, and pure outrage. Overnight, their empire, the brand, the family, the legacy, crumbled before the world's eyes. And just when you thought the fire couldn't burn any hotter, a leaked video dropped. The husband laughing with friends, bragging that his wife would never leave, that she needed him. That clip alone destroyed what little reputation he had left. Sponsorships vanished. The label issued a statement that sounded more like a funeral announcement. Industry friends unfollowed him faster than a trending hashtag dies. Meanwhile, the wife transformed from victim to warrior. She released a statement so powerful, it went viral instantly. "You can break my heart, but you will never break my strength." Fans flooded her comments with love. Crowds gathered outside her home, holding signs calling her Queen Energy. She wasn't just surviving, she was rising. The alleged mistress, though, her story took a darker turn. Death threats, cancel campaigns. Her name became poison online. She went live crying, begging the world to understand her side, but no one was listening anymore. In the public's eyes, she was the homewrecker, the woman who destroyed a family. Whether it was fair or not didn't matter anymore. The internet had chosen its villain. Then, the final act. Divorce papers filed, empire divided, lawyers circling like vultures. The wife demanded custody, assets, and peace. The rapper, stripped of fame and fortune, was left in silence. No shows, no deals, no loyalty. The same city that once crowned him, their king now whispered his downfall. The kingdom had fallen, publicly, painfully, permanently. But what made this story unforgettable wasn't just the scandal. It was the symbolism. It was about how betrayal looks under a spotlight, how fame can magnify heartbreak until it becomes spectacle. It was about watching someone lose everything not in private, but in 4K. Weeks later, the wife announced her comeback, not as a victim, but as a voice. A tell-all memoir titled "Truth Hurts, But I Survived." Every talk show wanted her. Every headline quoted her. Her pain became power. Her silence became strategy. And while her ex vanished into obscurity, she reclaimed her throne, one headline at a time. The mistress vanished, deleted accounts, moved cities, maybe countries. Some say she's changed her name. Others think she's planning a documentary of her own. But for now, her silence is her only protection. As for the rapper, well, his silence became the echo of regret. And yet, even after all of this, fans still ask the same question. Was it worth it? Was one night of weakness worth the empire that fell apart? Or was this simply the price of living a double life in a world that never forgets? Because here's the truth. When fame meets betrayal, the internet doesn't forgive. It doesn't sleep. It doesn't move on. It replays, rewinds, and relives your downfall until it becomes legend. The scandal didn't just stop at the courtroom or the headlines. Social media exploded like a powder keg. TikTok creators began posting their breakdowns, dissecting every leaked audio, every photo, and every alleged chat. Some used humor to cope, creating memes that would later trend worldwide, while others were serious, vowing justice for the betrayed wife. Every clip, every post, every thread became a conversation starter. In just hours, the story was no longer just Atlanta gossip. It had gone global. Fans started theorizing endlessly. Some suggested the leak wasn't accidental, that someone from inside the circle deliberately released the documents to spark chaos. Others insisted it was all orchestrated, a publicity stunt gone wrong. And then there were the conspiracy theorists, who linked the timing of the pregnancy announcement to a series of events months prior, pointing out hotel stays, social media patterns, and seemingly innocuous tweets that, in hindsight, were clues. Each theory gained traction faster than the last, turning casual observers into armchair detectives. Meanwhile, influencers jumped on the story with their own spin. Podcasts dedicated entire episodes to analyzing the scandal, breaking down audio clips frame by frame, replaying the courthouse footage in slow motion, and debating motives. Some commentators praised the wife for her courage, noting how she controlled the narrative by demanding the DNA test and speaking out. Others critiqued the alleged mistress, questioning whether she had been manipulated or willingly complicit. The internet had turned into a courtroom of its own, and every opinion mattered. Even mainstream media couldn't resist the frenzy. News outlets ran continuous coverage, with anchors dissecting every new leak. Panel discussions debated the implications of the DNA results, what it meant for the husband's career, and how betrayal in public could reshape an entire personal brand. Late-night talk shows parodied the scandal while simultaneously acknowledging the gravity of the personal devastation. Headlines like "Rapper's Empire Collapses Overnight" and "The Queen Rises from the Ashes" became daily fixtures, ensuring no one could escape the narrative. Outside of social media, public reactions grew intense. Supporters of the wife camped outside her home with signs and chants, demanding justice, celebrating her resilience, and showing solidarity. At the same time, critics hurled insults and threats toward the alleged mistress, branding her as a homewrecker. The lines between online and real-world outrage blurred, creating an environment where every move, every post, every live video could spark a new wave of controversy. Security became an issue for all parties involved, and even casual bystanders were drawn into the spectacle. The emotional toll was immense. Reports surfaced that the wife had trouble sleeping, often waking in the middle of the night to check social media for updates, for signs of backlash or support. Her children reportedly witnessed the chaos unfolding, leading her to take additional precautions to protect them from the public eye. Meanwhile, the husband, once a titan of the music world, retreated into isolation. Interviews described him as withdrawn, haunted, and constantly anxious about the next leak or headline. His empire, both personal and professional, was bleeding at an unprecedented rate. As days turned into weeks, the story continued evolving. Leaks of private conversations and alleged confessions kept the public glued to their screens. Each revelation added another layer to the narrative: betrayals within friendships, hidden motives, and undisclosed relationships. Analysts debated whether the scandal was purely personal or whether it had wider implications for celebrity culture as a whole. Some claimed it highlighted the dangers of fame, while others saw it as a cautionary tale about trust, loyalty, and the fragility of public personas. The narrative shifted again when the wife announced her memoir, The internet went into overdrive speculating about the contents. Would she reveal more secrets? Would there be confessions from friends, insiders, or even the husband himself? Anticipation built to a fever pitch, with talk shows and podcasts offering countdowns to the book's release. Fans felt like they were part of the story, waiting to witness the rise of the heroine who had endured public humiliation and personal betrayal. Meanwhile, corporate fallout continued. Brands and sponsorships severed ties with the husband, citing moral clauses and public relations concerns. Streaming numbers and album sales plummeted, with fans actively boycotting his music as a statement of disapproval. Industry insiders noted how quickly a career built over decades could crumble under the weight of scandal, warning other celebrities about the dangers of private decisions made public. In the digital realm, memes evolved from humor to cultural commentary. Social media users began comparing the scandal to classic tales of betrayal, using pop culture references to frame the story. TikTok and Instagram became galleries of artistic interpretation, animated recreations, dramatic voiceovers, and fan reactions that turned the personal drama into collective entertainment. The lines between reality, narrative, and spectacle blurred, making it almost impossible to separate fact from performance. The alleged mistress, despite attempts to explain herself, became a symbol of isolation. Every public statement was scrutinized, criticized, and dissected. Her once private life had become a public battlefield, and no one could escape the scrutiny. Social media comments ranged from death threats to sympathetic messages, yet the overall narrative painted her as the antagonist, cementing her role in the story's public perception. The wife, however, became a case study in resilience. Her ability to control her narrative, speak with clarity, and maintain dignity while the world watched transformed her into a symbol of strength. Public support swelled, turning her into not just a celebrity, but a cultural icon. Crowds outside her home held signs proclaiming her as a queen, and social media hashtags reinforced her growing status as a figure who could rise from the ashes of personal betrayal. Even months later, the scandal remained a reference point. Analysts, bloggers, and commentators cited the events as examples of fame colliding with personal life in the harshest way possible. Cultural commentators debated the long-term implications for celebrity marriages, accountability, and public perception. The story had moved beyond gossip. It became a societal mirror, reflecting what happens when private lives intersect with public obsession. And still, questions lingered. Could any trust be rebuilt? Would the husband ever recover his empire, reputation, or personal relationships? Could the alleged mistress ever move past public condemnation? Or would the wife's rise cement her legacy as the ultimate survivor, the queen who turned heartbreak into power? In the end, the saga was more than a scandal. It was a cultural event, a lesson in loyalty, betrayal, and the unforgiving eye of the public. Every leak, every statement, every reaction became part of a larger narrative about human fragility and resilience under pressure. The world watched, debated, and documented, ensuring that the story would be remembered, not just as a celebrity scandal, but as a cautionary tale about trust, fame, and the consequences of private actions made public. Even now, the story continues to echo. Fans revisit clips, podcasts, replay analysis, and social media threads remain active with debate. It has become timeless in its own digital way, a scandal that shaped conversations, inspired commentary, and forced the world to reflect on the cost of betrayal in the age of instant exposure. And as long as people talk, watch, and share, the narrative lives on, a reminder that sometimes the truth doesn't just hurt, it reshapes lives forever. As the dust settled, one thing became painfully clear. Nothing would ever be the same for anyone involved. The wife had emerged from the chaos stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. Her story became a blueprint for resilience, a testament to what it means to survive betrayal in the public eye. The husband, once untouchable, now faced the consequences of his actions, a stark reminder that power and fame are fragile when trust is broken. The alleged mistress remained a cautionary figure, a symbol of choices that carry weight far beyond private walls. And for the fans, the public, and everyone who watched this saga unfold, the lesson was unforgettable. Every action has consequences. Every secret eventually comes to light. And the truth, no matter how painful, will always find its way into the open. This story, full of heartbreak, scandal, and resilience, may have reached its legal conclusion, but its impact echoes endlessly across social media, pop culture, and conversations worldwide. And as long as people remember, debate, and reflect, the Harris family saga will remain a defining chapter in the history of celebrity, betrayal, and survival. No empire, no fame, no public image can shield anyone from the weight of truth. And in the end, survival isn't just about weathering the storm. It's about rising from the ashes stronger, wiser, and ready for whatever comes next. But this isn't the end, not even close. Because in the world of celebrity chaos, redemption arcs sell just as fast as scandals. And trust me, someone in this story will try to rewrite theirs. And don't go anywhere. Click the next video you see on your screen for even more juicy celebrity chaos, betrayals, and stories Hollywood doesn't want you to know. See you in the next one.